Scurrius is designed for mid-level accounts to practice PvM mechanics and get some very good XP rates for their combat stats, but how good is it? That's what I'm going to be testing out today. This alt account Smeekabee had pretty low combat stats, so I hung out at Sand Crabs for like a night and a half and then sent some low combat Scurrius. This is not a Scurrius guide, just examples of training on Scurrius at lower levels. My full Scurrius guide is going to be linked in the description. For my first kill, I was like 50 attack, 55 strength, and 40 defense, as well as 43 prayer, which gives me all of those protection prayers. I got the kill, but it was very slow. Not like too slow to get decent XP, but like multiple prayer potions used per kill, so that's not that good. I did decide to make my way back to some sand crabs. Now, I don't have Bone Voyage yet on the account, or I would have done Ammonite crabs instead, but the sand crabs are very solid for boosting those stats a little bit more. After some more sand crabs, I was 61 attack, 60 strength, and 50 defense. Still 43 prayer, that we're going to bring that up in a little bit. I also completed Monkey Madness so that I could use the Dragon Scimitar. And with all of that, the kill was much faster. A few more levels made a big difference, but also the Dragon Skimmy is a lot better than a Rune Skimmy. Right away, the XP an hour was looking pretty solid, but there was still one minor issue, and that is prayer points. Scurrius has high health and low defense, which is a great combination for getting good XP rates. Scurrius also heals during the kill though, so if you have bare minimum stats and gear, the kill can be kind of slow, which means you're going to use a lot of prayer points each kill. Combine that with Scurrius's cheap loot table, and you'll be spending some money on prayer points while you're training your stats. It's not going to be that much money. You can make up for the GP very easily at like the Blast Furnace. 2 or 3 hours of Blast Furnace would give you hundreds of kills worth of prayer potion money. This is something to keep in mind for really any bossing though, to be fair. If you're going to kill a boss with a minimum setup, you're likely going to be using more supplies, you're going to get slower kills, and you shouldn't be expecting to make as much GP an hour. There are other things that you can do though to be able to use less prayer points during a kill outside of just killing it faster. First of all, a higher prayer bonus means that your prayer points are going to drain slower. This is why I have that Bandos cloak on, and I do suggest that you knock out the Slug Menace quest for proselyte gear, or at least recruitment drive for initiate armor. I haven't done either on this account, and I do kind of wish that I had that extra prayer bonus. Just having a higher prayer level can help in a different way than the prayer bonus. When you sip a prayer potion, you actually restore more prayer points if you have a higher prayer level. It's every 4 levels that you get the extra prayer point, so getting up to like 60 prayer would have also been very nice for getting more points per sip. Plus, once you reach 60 prayer, you could look into completing the Knight's Training Grounds after the King's Ransom quest, which is going to unlock Chivalry and Piety, at which that point you should be eyeballing 70 prayer as well, since Piety is very good, though that's not needed for Scurrius, to be fair. Finally, you can flick your prayers more to be able to save prayer points during the fight. In between getting hit by Scurrius attacks, you can turn off your overhead prayer so that you're not wasting points. This can be a little bit funky, since with Scurrius's melee attacks, you need to protect before you see him use the attack, but then with range and magic, you just need to have the prayer on when the projectile lands on you. It's not a necessity to flick your prayers during the fight, but it is going to save a lot of prayer points, and it's actually very good for practicing your timing as well, which leads us into the next section of this video. The Rat King was also designed for players to learn some PvM mechanics. You'll have to flick between protection prayers, move your character as it drops debris on you, and then sometimes deal with multiple rats at a time. During the enraged phase, you're actually dealing with all of this stuff at once, so it can get kind of intense. Scurrius is not incredibly strong though, so you're unlikely to be stacked out quickly because it doesn't hit hard, and you can generally just out-eat any of the mistakes that you make. This is a very good combination for getting practice. You can be very sweaty with your prayer flicks and moving your feet, and then if you do mess it up, you very likely won't die, and then even if you did die, it's pretty easy to get your stuff back and get another kill going without losing much time. The XP an hour here is arguably the best part of the boss. This is good for PvM practice, but the XP and leveling gains are a lot easier to quantify. For my starting setup, I had a Dragon Scimitar, which requires Monkey Madness. I filled in with as much strength bonus as I could get. This account has not done a lot of quests, so we're rocking a few bare minimums. I've got a Strength Amulet, Combat Bracelet, and Rune Boots. I've got the Bandos Cloak for prayer bonus, and then the rest is just Rune Armor, which really only adds defense, and defense isn't a huge deal during this fight since you protect from most of the damage anyways. Again, my stats were 61 attack, 60 strength, and 50 defense. I got about 50k strength XP an hour to start, which was pretty solid. It was about 4k XP per kill, so only like 5 or 10 kills per strength level at first. As I pushed closer to 65 strength, I also was using my offensive prayers a little bit more often, and I was getting closer to like 55k XP an hour. I did have some rough RNG and got my Scurrius Spine at 60 66 KC, which is twice the drop rate of a 1 in 33. It could be worse, but the sooner you get the spine, the sooner you can make that bone mace. The bone mace is awesome. It requires 50 attack. It has stats similar to a dragon mace, but a plus 10% max hit when used against rats. In general, it can only be used against rats, though, to be fair. Not only does the mace destroy Scurrius, but it also has no attack delay on the giant rats that spawn. This is also the case for the bone bow and the bone staff, so you can just like one tick each of these big rats. The bone mace immediately jumped my XP rates up to 75k XP an hour, which is very good for having stats under 70. This would take about 9 hours to go from 60 to 70 strength, or more like 6 hours if you were on the bone mace, which is actually very good. I didn't get my bone mace till that 66 KC, but I still did get some solid gains with the dragon scimitar. It is worth noting that you could go for 65 attack and 65 strength while you're here, which is not going to take very long. Then you would have access to the Warriors Guild, which is where you can get the Dragon Defender. The Dragon Defender is a shield with really sick offensive stats, and it's infinitely more helpful than that silly little rune kite shield. Once I got 2 more Scurrius spines, I did send some skills with the bone staff and the bone short bow to get an idea of the range and magic XP rates as well. I started off with the staff. To make the bone staff, you need a Scurrius spine, a battle staff, and 1,000 chaos runes. With 35 crafting and a chisel, you can make it yourself, or you can take it to the historian outside of Scurrius's lair, and he'll make it for you for 50k. You charge the staff with chaos runes, and then it has a built-in spell that uses 1 chaos rune per cast, and you'll have 1,000 charges in the staff to start since you used 1,000 chaos runes to make it. I was wearing some pretty weak magic gear, like a mystic, a glory, and then a Brudu shield for a little bit of mage bonus. If I sent Mage Arena 1 for the magic cape or the lighthouse quest so that I could make a good magic book would be a very nice upgrade, but I was pleasantly surprised with the XP rates that I got with this setup. Off the rip, at 55 magic, I was getting 80k mage XP an hour, which is very good at that level. If I went from 55 to 70 mage, that would take around 7 hours of mage training. At every 3 levels you get, your max hit goes up with this staff, so your XP an hour would slowly be climbing during that time as well. I was using around 1.6 thousand chaos runes per hour, and it still wasn't really profiting thanks to the prayer potions, but it wasn't that many prayer sips per kill overall. And then with the bone shortbow and the range setup, really the same thing happened. The bone shortbow requires a U shortbow, a Scurrius spine, and then a knife and 35 fletching, or you can go again to the historian and he'll make it for you for 50k. I started at 55 range and I had a pretty weak setup with blue d'hide and some snakeskin fillers. I did use rune arrows, which are pretty thick but also affordable, and they're easy to get as an Iron Man since you can buy them at last man standing. I was actually getting more like 85 to 88k range XP an hour with 55 range and rune arrows, and I was using like 700 to 800 arrows per hour. I did realize after I sent the hour though, I never had upgraded my Ava's Attractor to an Ava's Accumulator, which saves even more ammo and increases the range DPS, giving more XP an hour. So you can pretty easily get yourself to like 90k plus range XP an hour with a very low setup. Scurrius is great for low to mid combat XP. 70 to 80k XP an hour once you get your rat bone weapons is very good, and it's much more engaging and fun to do than other methods like Ammonite Crabs or the Nightmare Zone. The boss is also great for practicing PVM mechanics and dipping your foot into the bossing pool. I think Jagex hit every mark that they were looking for on this boss, and I highly suggest any player that's anywhere from 70 to 90 combat should definitely be looking into sending some Scurrius kills. If you enjoyed the video or you just got some useful information, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching the video, and best of luck on your Scurrius gains.